Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. Hope you're all doing very, 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 very well. And welcome to another edition of the magazine show on the Kilt-Man channel. This is the time machine. This is Russell Garcia's score for the original and the best version of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. This will probably all blend together. You know me, I throw soundtracks on and make note to do this, and then I go off on tangents, and everything seems to coalesce at some point. It all gels together. But the magazine show is where we just kick back, have a wee dram. That's quite a hefty dram, that. New bottle of whiskey. Yeah, and I'm already halfway down it now, especially with this. Cheers, y'all. Now, the magazine edition is where we just kick back and just shoot the shit and just talk bollocks about what's going on in the world, what's happened, what's happening right now, what may yet transpire to happen. So, I've got a lot of notes. I've got a lot of notes, and Christ almighty, this could go some distance. Apologies in advance. So, what have we got first of all? I'm not gonna be very serious about most of this, I don't think. But and yet a lot of it's quite bad. A lot of it's news items, and it's never good, is it? Is news ever good? Well, David Attenborough's back on telly with Wild Isles, which is all about, you know, the wildlife, the flora and fauna of the British Isles. And the first episode was on Sunday night, and it was fantastic, as you'd expect. The photography is amazing, the little stories of all the wee animals, and his fabulous and yet portentous voiceover, you know, breaks down all barriers. No matter who or what you are, no matter what your politics are, you want to protect the world. You want to protect the little fairy things and the feathered things and the things that live in the sea. At least you should do. Anyway, that wasn't one of my notes actually, but the first thing I want to talk about is, God, see now in the UK, and we're lagging behind in this apparently. The government have now announced that they're going to have an alarm system. They're going to hit every single mobile phone in the country, right? And the idea is it's a genuine alarm. Your phone, no matter, unless your phone's actually off or in phone mode, plane mode, it's going to go off, and you will have to action it, and it's going to have a siren coming out of it, wow, 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 and it'll tell you what the alarm is for. And the idea is, if you're in danger of imminent death, yeah, you right there, it's got to go on. If there's a flood, there's a fire, there's an earthquake. Doubtful in the UK. We do get them. Had a few shudders in me time, a few knee tremblers, or a terrorist incident. So this is the idea. It's to alert everybody, right? This is happening, and this is what you should do. So, you know, and then you've actually got to physically turn that off. So, even if your phone's on silent, it's going to happen. Now, this got announced on Sunday, and then, yesterday, which would be Monday, everyone's in uproar about it. The nanny state, Big Brother. It's a family affair, you see, folks. And I was surprised just how many people didn't like it. People I thought would be, this is the government, and he always backed the government. And you know what I'm like? I'm very distrusting of the government. I'm very anti-authoritarian in some ways. In some ways. And I always think there's an ulterior motive. I do. You've got, in this day and age, you've got to look beyond what they tell you, because what they tell you is mostly isn't true. And if there's any truth to it, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, which you should take your time and effort to go and look at before you make an informed decision. So, anyway, this alarm, wildfires, floods. Now, apparently in Europe and in other countries, Norway, I think it is, and a lot of other countries. This already happens, and it's happened for quite some time. And it happens in Scotland as well. There are people that live by rivers, which in times of really bad weather, they're in danger of flooding. So they get a message warning them. But that doesn't come from the government. That comes from local emergency services who go out and send the message out. But this is from the government. So people have been saying, oh my God, that means the government knows all your phone numbers. My God. Of course they do. Where did you ever think that they didn't? Of course they know your fucking phone number. They know everything about you. They know where you are because of your bloody phones. I was looking for my phone then to try and... This thing, I'm talking to it. It's recording right now. And they're probably recording me as well. But, of course they know your number. That's not even the issue. You've known that. You should know that. They know everything about you. So, but the problem I find with this is that they're running a test. I should say they're running a test April the 23rd, I think. I may have got the date wrong there. And it's early evening time. And they're going to run this test blanket style. Everybody, right? They've apparently trialled it in Hampshire, I think. East Hampshire. And with, well, supposedly great results. I don't know. What disasters happen in East Hampshire? I don't know. But they're going to roll this out and do a test thing. And it's just going to say, this is the test, just turn it off. Hit this button here, turn it off. But in reality, when it does happen, and they say, oh, it'll be a very rare, only in really dire scenarios will this ever occur. But what will happen is, you will have to do certain things to turn it off. And what it will do, it'll tell you where to go. Now this is what I don't like about it, you see. So you're there, whenever you happen to be, you're shopping, you're sitting at home with your feet up, you could be in the fucking bath, for God's sake. You know, you could be on the job, jiggity, 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 and your fucking alarm goes off, like you're gonna stop then, as if. And it's gonna say like, oh, there's a wildfire. Right, everyone in the village should now run down to Old McCreasy's Sports Emporium and hole up in there. Right, now, you think this through. They're going to send everybody in an area a message saying, get off the streets, hide away somewhere. Really? Okay. Now, I do not want to be the one that pours scorn upon this. Because as they keep on saying, and they're very fond of this, you know, it's been proven that an alarm call like this can save a life. And if this just saves one life, then it's worthwhile. I agree. I'm not going to argue with that. But the openness to corruption that this has, scammers, fakery, mistakes, the British government's track record with apps is deplorable. Deplorable. And they expect this to work. Now, the person inside me that thinks, don't fall for this, it's Big Brother, there's always an ulterior motive. You all get this message. Get off the streets now, get indoors. You've had the pandemic when they realised they could scare the population into doing pretty much anything they wanted, and you'll fall for it. You know, the rule of six, the social separation and all that, like wearing of masks. You know, you can only go out for like an hour a day. Okay, they proved that was their rehearsal. They proved we can do whatever we want. Now, under the pretext of saving lives, this would be good for you. They're going to do this, and they can tell you to get off the streets, tell you to meet somewhere. Who says you're going to come out of that again? I'm just saying, folks. And while you're off the streets, turn all your lights out, draw the curtains. You know, there's a possible chemical, catastrophe. Get in your bunkers, get in your cellars, get in your big old bath, and all the family together. This time you won't send social services round. And while they move troop trucks up and down the streets and all that, like, and anyone caught in the streets, martial law. I'm thinking of worst case scenarios. Don't go leaping on me. Oh, you idiot, Kilt-Man, as if it's going to be like that. they're going to prove that they can do it, because they'll do this test and it'll be a grand success. And then the idea is, obviously, if there's a flood in Yorkshire somewhere, or in Cumbria where they got Cockermouth, Jesus, Cockermouth, we've stayed there. We've got friends who own a fantastic apartment there, which we stayed in many times. But that fucking river, oh my God, it floods all the time, especially in the last few years of global warming, anybody? Because all the old folks in that town do not remember any floods at all. And yet in the last 2 decades, you've had nothing but floods every year. And some of them absolutely severe. Our friends who own this luxury apartment, which is now, the lower part has been removed and it's on struts because the river floods its banks all the time now. They can't sell the place because of the disaster of the flooding. So, and the monotonous regularity of it. So there's the effect right there. And then, now, obviously, if there's a flood, that would affect them, So, well, you'd expect them to be told. But if they can reach every single person on their mobile phone, there's no limit to what they can tell you. And the instructions come up and the sheeple will run for it. Do you know? Cheers, y'all. God, that's big. They won't last long either. Do you know that just before 9/11, oh, he's on 9/11 now. Oh, what's he going to say this time? Well, I've studied a lot of 9/11. And I don't believe 99% of what they tell you happened. And there's enormous amounts of information from very committed and very credible people behind the scenes. FBI, police, emergency services, everybody, whistleblowers. There's a whole load. You don't even think about what I'm going to say. Just, if you don't believe it yourself, go and look elsewhere. Read the enormous amount of books on it. Watch the enormous amount of interviews all over YouTube. But YouTube stinks. YouTube's full of lies. That's what they want you to think. There is an enormous amount of lies and bullshittery on YouTube and every other platform. Of course there is. It's open to everything. But there's also a lot of truth there, because the truth doesn't get onto mainstream TV. It doesn't get onto mainstream stuff at all. So you have to look elsewhere to find out. Now, former FBI agent and investigator for many, many years, John D'Souza, he was one of the first of the FBI teams to be on Ground Zero. And actually, he's written books about it, and he's highly, highly experienced, highly praised and decorated, and also demoted for coming out with certain things whilst he was still working for the FBI. Now, they found nothing of any plane, nothing at all, no wreckage of planes, despite all we found the passport of, the guy that apparently took that fucking plane. Bullshit. Like, you're going to find his passport there, shove it up your arse. There was no plane wreckage whatsoever, nothing, and you'd expect to see that. Those great big fucking wheels and the wheel assembly, that doesn't get destroyed. They will stay. The rest of the undercarriage and the hull of the plane may collapse and fold and be destroyed, but the engine parts and the wheels will not go, and the wheel assemblies will not diminish. They'll be found, and they weren't there. Black box, despite what you've heard, black box wasn't found either. So forget that. Now, he said, what people don't realise is that just in the days before 9/11, all the voice alarms in the buildings around the two towers and all the other surrounding area, the voice alarms were changed to say, right, don't worry, panic over, go back to your office, go back inside. They wanted more people to die. He says so. He said they wanted a hell of a lot more of a death count than the 3,500 or whatever it was. They wanted like 50,000 or something like that. So people are panicking, running out, and the alarms would be going, no, go back in. If they hadn't left, then they'd have died as well, and that body count would have risen, stratospherically. So he said that. So they're not above doing voice alarms and this kind of alarm as well on your phone to trick you into go there and then gas explosion, boom, sports halls blown up. This is perfect for bogus terrorist attacks. Perfect. We had the anniversary of the Warrington bombing by the IRA, in which 2 little lads were killed. A 12-year-old and a 3-year-old were killed. And the IRA picked that particular location in a soft target, Warrington, not too far away from where I'm sitting right now, on the day before Mother's Day. And they blew up a bin, and then everyone ran down the high street. They were all shopping on the Saturday before Mother's Day. Lots of kids and families went out and ran down the street towards another bomb which went off. And 56 people were injured, I think it was, and these 2 little lads were killed. And a fabulous charity was set up. And the father of one of these kids has been outspoken and wonderful and incredibly brave. A wonderful, wonderful guy. I've seen him at a talk actually quite a few years ago, and he was inspiring and an incredible fella. He's not like, I get a lot of people go like, I forgive them. I forgive them now. But we need to come to terms and understand it. He was a leading voice in the peace process, but he hasn't forgiven them. He'll never forgive them. Why the fuck should he? Now, so you imagine your alarm goes off. Oh, it's a terrorist attack in, I don't know, Kentucky Fried Chicken on so-and-so street. You best run down the other end towards the Wellington Boot pub. And that's triggered to blow. Ba-boom. Not only the people in that area would have known about that instruction to go down there, but over the mass media news, the terrorists did this, and everyone ran down there, and you get all this plaintive, all these politicians going like, our hearts go out, this is despicable. In our society, there's no place for things like this. All the same old shit and platitudes they always come out with without doing a damn fucking thing to stop it, but a hell of a lot to cause it, and maybe even perpetrate it. I know there's some people out there going like, don't say it, don't. I know a fair bit. I know people who've been involved in stuff that their heart and soul told them not to do, but duty and orders told them otherwise. I know this, so obviously I can't say because it will incriminate a lot of people. But anyway, this shit happens. So this alarm system. Now, the other side of me, because I'm Gemini, so I'm in 2 minds about everything. I kind of also think, well, yeah, that is probably a good idea if there's a major emergency. But my own concerns and distrust of the government and their manipulation of things and their ulterior motives makes me just think this is going to be used and abused, and we're going to come unstuck with this. Oh, we're just doing a trial. It'll only ever be used in the rarest of occasions. They only need one big occasion to cause bedlam, And then all of a sudden, it's martial law on the streets. No, you must stay indoors. They're already doing stuff in Manchester, not Manchester. I think they've already got it in Manchester, but in Chester, that's the Roman city of Chester, on the border of Wales and England, and where my wife is working right now as I speak, commanding her legions, not her legions, her legions, and they're making little tiny neighbourhoods, so you don't really need so you can't drive anywhere within the city. You're going to drive in your area, and this is a big sort of local council sort of thing, but the directorate came down from main government to do this. Now you think about this as well. So they're going to enclose you in little tiny blocks. Well, that's your neighbourhood. Everything you need should be in your neighbourhood. You shouldn't need to go out anywhere. That's what they said. I did watch. This is about 2-3 weeks ago. There was an interview about this, and I was going to mention it at the time. It seems to have been forgotten about now, but it is definitely sliding out in Chester right now. Anyone from Chester can confirm this, that they're going to start segregating areas, neighbourhoods in Chester, and you won't be able to drive from one area to another. You can go out of the city, of course. There'll be main thoroughfares, but you can't be driving around. And of course, the way they build this up and bolster it, it's like you should be on your bike or walking or using public transport. That's the way. Folks, inner city congestion is a major issue. Of course it is. But you've got to wake up and see how they're coercing everything so that it's becoming, you are going to be blocked in a few years, you'll be blocked into little states, little mini estates, where you've got there's your shops there, you have one pub, but you won't be able to afford to drink in because we're taxing alcohol for the fucking roof and back. So there'd be no point going anywhere. Just stay indoors, stay indoors. You can all work from home anyway, so stay indoors. It's a crazy old world, folks, crazy old world. So I was thinking about this alarm, and I've got I think the one that would make everyone really sit up and listen to any alarm that came in with a phone. And you've also got to think about old people that don't use their phone very often. It's just a means of an emergency for themselves, for their family and friends. Make sure everyone's okay. Little old people in their homes, they've got a very simple mobile phone. For those of you in America, cell phone. And suddenly this thing comes up and it's saying alarm, alarm. It's got a fucking siren. And some of them may remember the air raid sirens. Yeah. And before I go on to what I was going to play there, the time machine. Just remembered. Our time traveller goes forward in time and witnesses. H.G. Wells did not know about World War I or World War II, but he foretold them. And his time traveller sees and hears people running to an air raid siren and people running into cover, going underground. And he sees it a couple of times and then it goes catastrophically ahead of time into the far-flung future with the passive Eloi and the ferocious and cannibalistic Morlocks who live underground. And you've got a variation of the air raid siren, and when they hear the air raid siren, they all head off to this great big sort of sphinx-like structure with the doors open, and they all head in like sheep brainwashed to be eaten by the hungry Morlocks. So you think about that in the terms of an alarm and then a message telling you where to go. Obviously in the days of World War II, the Blitz happened here, Birmingham, London, Manchester. We got bombed all over the place. And air raid sirens would go off and people would head themselves underground. Of course, in the film, it twists it round into a corrupt version. Now even George Pal and the makers of that movie and H.G. Wells himself did not foresee the corruption of government and how government would change things around to suit themselves. So you imagine we go underground, or they may start building these bunkers, right? Head underground, head to bunker 19, and then or just wall it up, leave them there, let them eat themselves. Folks, it's all just hypothesis and supposition at the moment. But this sort of thing is open to governmental corruption, global corruption, the global hierarchy. We've tested it, it works. Okay, let's take out 50% of the UK. Let's do it now. Head them underground, gas them. So you've got the little old fogies who don't even know what they're doing with the phone. They're like, how many of them, when that alarm goes off, even in the big TV build-up, and don't forget, on the 23rd, there's going to be, the test of the new great government alarm system on your mobile phone. They'll massively boost this. But you're going to get people that don't watch telly, don't listen to radio, but they've got their mobile phone to stay in touch with friends and family who may have told them, but they're old. They don't remember. It starts going off, they can't turn it off. You're going to get that. You're going to get massive panic from some people. Massive panic. Anyway, let's see if I've got The one alarm that I genuinely love. Let's see if I've got it. And if I can't find this now, oh, I found it. This is from The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing, of course. Outpost 31, Kurt Russell's MacReady, and the shape-shifting alien entity that is The Thing. And when the thing in the kennel begins to start working, it's horrible, horrible stuff on the poor huskies that are in there. Damn that scene, damn that scene. I hate that scene. In a film which is my favourite, and I think it's a masterpiece, there's moments there and I cannot watch. But anyway, and he hears that horrible dog howl that becomes something else, and he's gone to the fridge to get some. Well, he's not getting his J&B. He's just getting a beer. But he hears that and then breaks the glass, pulls the lever. Isn't that great? By the way, this goes on for about an hour. Just on a loop. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get that when this sort of thing goes off. Only it's not as cute or as sexy as that. It's kind of like an off-kilter sort of rhythm and note structure, just to keep you furthermore unhinged. Alright, we got the point. We got the point. Christ. Make it stop, somebody. Now you imagine that going off. I mean, that's, any smoke alarm is bad enough, but that's immediately, whoa, that's got you. It's got you by the fucking spinal column. Your cerebral cortex is being squeezed. Your ears are bleeding. You know, you've got to move to get away from the fucking sound. So you'll get that. When the alarm goes off, you'll have people fucking throwing their phones. They can't, the big panic. They'll be like, oh, fuck that. So the amount of the black market phones you're going to get hold of. And because of this alarm that's gone out by the government, they've actually all your security system has been overridden, so anyone who picks it up can use your phone. You've got no idea. Oh, but the government has our phone number. Oh, of course it's got your fucking phone number. Jesus Christ, it's always on your phone number. It's always known. But I was surprised by the amount of people who I thought would be totally on side with this, who didn't like it at all. A lot of journalists, a lot of TV celebrities, a lot of people who were, you know, on these magazine programs and news programs who did not like this. So, could be a backlash. Who knows? Cheers, you all again. I want to draw the curtains because it's meant to be terribly windy and rainy and wetty today, and it's actually cracking the flags at the moment. That won't last though. So, mobile phone alarms, and the government's looking out for us. It's going to protect us from all the disasters and the terrorism out there. Well, you've done a bang-up job so far, haven't you? You've caused fucking most of it. Right, what's next? Oh yeah, and this is something that was briefly alluded to in Wild Isles with David Attenborough, is tree intelligence. Now, if you saw one of my just recent videos about the council wanting to cut down the trees in the cemetery, which we back onto, Rake Lane Cemetery, did a big video on this, and the mercenaries, the hitmen for hire that the council brings in, these private companies to go and do their fucking dirty work. And I challenged them, and they lied to me. I know they lied to me about the trees that are coming down. But I'll do an update on that as and when these things transpire. But at the moment, there's nothing really to add to that. Although I've been on tree watch. But this thing come out about tree intelligence and using fungus and fungi that lives below the soil. So you've got certain trees that use the fungi which proliferate on their roots, and the roots go even further and further and deeper, far more outreaching than you first thought, via the network of fungi. And what these trees are doing, they're sending nutrients down to their offspring, the trees that have sprouted off the back of this major tree the grandfather, grandmother tree. And they're sending nutrients via this network of fungi down to their young trees, their saplings elsewhere where the seeds and have grown. How clever is that? They're looking after their own. And they were saying because one of the guys who does a lot of the filming, he's a proper naturalist himself, like highly educated. And he lives up in Truro, I think it is. And hang on, where does he live? No, he lives further up than that, much further up. Can't remember where now. Much further up, the other end of the British Isles, in fact. And so he lives and breathes this sort of stuff. And he said we're only just getting to terms with like how fungi operate. We've always thought we knew them, and that certain fungi are poisonous, certain fungi are nutritious, certain fungi are just fun. You know the ones I mean, those magic ones. And but we're just learning now what happens under the soil, because these trees do have intelligence. Other plants have intelligence. There is the great. See how I've blended The Thing from John Carpenter with The Thing from Another World from 1951, because The Thing from Another World is James Arness as a superhuman carrot, an intelligent carrot, and the mind boggles. He's not a shape-shifting alien that crash lands. He's just a big Boris Karloff Frankenstein's monster style lumbering thing with thorn fingers. He's about 7.5 feet tall, and he drinks blood, and blood propagates his race. So I've covered it loads. I've done a big commentary track for it as well, and but they call him an intelligent carrot, and they do talk about, because Scotty, the news reporter who happens to be there at the North Pole waiting for a story. Why would you wait at the North Pole for a story? You know what I mean? But they get one. Oh boy, did they get one! And he's going like, as if you mean that the plants on this planet that can think. And like all the scientists there go, well, intelligence in plants is an old story, Mr. Scott. What is it? What is it now? The telegraph vine. It's your theory, it's your side. You tell him. Oh yes, the telegraph vine has been shown to send messages to other telegraph vines, 50 to 100 miles away. Oh yes, intelligence in plants is an old story, Mr. Scott. And you kind of think it's like, oh yeah, well, what kind of message is it sending? It's sending food, is what it's doing. And possibly sending, maybe the river is flooding in that. You want a government alarm system. Trees with mobile phones. If a river's flooding, that they may send messages down to, other trees of their own species that, hey, look, watch out. They can't exactly move away though, can they? We're not talking Middle Earth here, where they uproot or the evil dead to start walking. But that'd be great. But maybe they do tip them off. They send messages, alarm signals of their own kind, but they send food to each other. That's proven. So there you go. Intelligent trees. Now, I've written here John Wick Chapter 4 that opens this week. In about 2 days' time, John Wick Chapter 4. I will be covering this. My son had his festival of watching John Wick Chapter 1, 2, 3 back to back, and he cannot wait for Chapter 4. And his birthday's the day after it comes out, so he wants to see it on his birthday with me. So I would have been saying to you guys, I'm watching it day one, and I'll be reviewing it day one. I won't be. I'll be seeing it on the Friday, so the review will not be till Saturday. So by that time, a lot of you may have seen it, but hey, it'll be fun anyway. But yeah, can't wait. Meant to have some of the greatest car chases ever put on film, because you've seen chases on foot, on horseback, on motorbike, and in cars in the John Wick series so far. And I think you're gonna get a combination of the entire fucking lot in this one, and you might have like literally a half hour or 20 minute, let's call it 20-minute chase sequence where he's going from car to car to car to car to horse to motorbike, to swinging from a fucking lamppost, to doing all sorts, and ending up back in the same car again. See, Chad Stahelski's John Wick movies have been extraordinary in the stuntage and the action. I love them. They're comic books, of course they are. They never had any other aspiration, but they're pushing the boundaries of mass stunts and action and sheer bravura, set piece, brutality and choreography. They're exciting as all hell, and I love the character. I love the world that they've created. So John Wick Chapter 4, Keanu. You can't do the English accent, but my God, it's John Wick. You fucking ace. UFO, not the old TV show. I've talked about UFOs a fair bit, and the hauntings of Kilt-Man and the orb that chased me in the cemetery and all that, a lot. And we see UFOs all the time. Oh, and I know you're thinking, oh Christ, he's done 9/11, he's done conspiracies, he's done the time machine. What the hell is he going to come up with now? God Almighty, we're going to be sent by alarm into the lair of the Morlocks. Don't listen to this guy. He's a nutter. He just doesn't drink whiskey all the time. Tis true. No, we see UFOs all the time because we have street lighting very badly at the front, but not at all at the back because we back onto that cemetery, and no lighting whatsoever. So when you go out there, you see stuff all the time. The star fields are incredible. They're not like it is if you go out like the deserts of Utah and New Mexico. It's not like that, but we have got it will be wow. It'll blow you away. The contrast from the front to the back of Kilt Mansion is impressive. Now, when you look up the night sky, you see things all the time. Okay, you see satellites, you see shooting stars. Shooting stars are great because you see them at the corner of your eye, and by the time you've looked, it's gone. But it's left an impression on your retina. So you have seen it, and you kind of split second, nanosecond remember it, and you get them a lot more than the certain meteor and shooting star showers that you get. Get them a lot more regularly than that. They happen all the time. On a clear night, you'll see them all the time. It's just stuff burning up, and you get satellites, and we get a lot of planes. In fact, there's a plane element to this, not this particular story, but we see stuff all the time. And I'm not going like, oh, that's aliens. Wow, it's aliens. It's just, I don't know what the fuck it is. It's unidentified. And I'm used to it now. You see them all the time. If you go out into Wales, you go out to Scotland, you go out anywhere in the countryside, you go in the mountains and you camp out, you're going to see stuff up there which you do not know what it is. You can't say it's a plane or a helicopter because you know what they look like. Oh, is it a top secret government stealth craft? Well, I don't know. Could be. I don't know. Or it could be little green men in their little spaceship. I don't know what the hell it is. But I just know it's not anything that I can explain. Yesterday morning at exactly 7:30, and I was lying in bed, and our big window there looks out over the cemetery, and it was daylight. It was a couple little powder puff white clouds were there, but then the sun was out, and it was the sun glinting off something which caught my eye, and I was lying there, and I had to what's that? Well, what it was a long cigar-shaped silver object. And it was going from where I was looking, from right to left, across the top, the bit of the window that you open, that bit you open with the little lever, and you notch it on. That bit, it was there, and some of our battlements were down on one side. It's a lovely little view actually of the sky, but especially with the gothic look of the battlements and all that of the mansion. And I was watching this, I thought, hey, why is that? That's not a plane. Like, it's not a plane. We are on the flight path. Planes coming into Liverpool, John Lennon Airport. They come right over there. They come from where I'm sitting right now. They come over that way, and they're heading because Liverpool's over there. Behind you guys is Liverpool, and they're coming in that way. Not so much planes going that way because this is the way back in. They go out a different side. So, which is great. When we come back from holidays abroad, we fly over our house and we can see it, and we go, there's a house here, down there, because you're quite low in the sky as well. You can see it on a good day. You can see it. So it wasn't a plane like that. It was going a different direction, and it was not a plane. It didn't have any wings. It was just a cigar-shaped silver tube. That's all it was. Now, I thought straight away, grab your phone, take a picture. And I did, with that phone, which I'm recording this on right now. And you can see me perfectly well. And Mr. Kentucky Fudge there, and Mr. Young Mad Max there. Snake Plissken up there somewhere, there he is. The Ingram Mac 10, lurking suspiciously behind me there. So, got my camera, and I took a couple of shots, about 3 shots, like that, as it was, and it did go into clouds, but it came out again, and then it went out. I couldn't see beyond the window, and that was it. It was gone. Could have run downstairs and gone out in the garden and had a look, but didn't do that, mainly because I was stark bollock naked. And looked at the pictures. Could I see it? No. It wasn't. I can't. It's maddening because I could see it. I even zoomed in on the little thing, like I went in like closer. I know it's distance, but I've took pictures of stars and the moon before, and they come out perfect. You know, no issues whatsoever. This thing, I went through it. Now I know there was a slight bit of dirty specks on the window. There was a lot of birds roost above there as well. So you've got other, not just dirty specks, but shitty specks as well. And but it wasn't behind them. I could fucking plainly see it. But it on my pictures, the 3 pictures, and I stood there. I went, literally, I blew them up. I was going through. It's not there at all. And yet there it was, bold. Not as bold as brass, as bold as silver. It was shining silver in the sunlight. I can't give any dimensions to it. I can't. Very thin. It was very thin. Quite long. I can't even tell if the ends were sort of curved. It was just like, literally just like a cigar. A silver cigar. Longer, and it wasn't a big fat cigar. It was a thin cigar. A cigarillo, maybe, drifting past. At the same speed, it wasn't, nothing erratic, just did what it did. Now, another thing happened recently. In fact, that was yesterday morning. This would be last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday night. Can't quite remember now. Cheers, y'all. There was I come home from the pub. Yes, it's true. And there was a plane buzzing around. Because you can hear the planes occasionally, you know, the big passenger jets, you hear them, and they don't last long, you know, because they're overhead within seconds. But you do get lots of little planes, and we get the police helicopter, which comes out, and I've told you all about that before, because people do a runner, they drive in, they stolen the car, they crash it in the cemetery, and they do a runner in the cemetery, and the police helicopter comes out, and it's beaming its spotlight down. All over the place, fucking annoying as well, like, but because they're there for hours. But we get planes. Now I remember sitting outside the cask one time in the summer. This would be last year in the summertime, and you're looking out over. There's a sort of an apartment complex over the road, and we're all sitting outside, and it's just plane, like a 2-seater, which is. It's sputtering round, sort of ahead of us. It's quite high up, and this is early evening time. It's dead sunny, so it's lovely. And it went off that way, and then you'd hear it coming round again, and it come back round. Hadn't got any higher, and it was circling round for ages. And I said, "This is not right. You don't see this. Why is it doing that?" And people go, "Yeah, that. Did we phone anybody up? Because that might just, maybe it's going to fly into Liverpool and crash into Liverpool. You know, like a hang glider landing on the top of the World Trade Center, like Escape from New York. Or a great big passenger jet, apparently flying into the World Trade Center." And then someone came out and said, "No, there's a big festival tomorrow, and they're training, and they're going to be flying stuff around. So that, they've said in advance, it was actually on sort of local news. Okay. They're just getting the flight path to go around the edge of New Brighton and what we call the dips, where all this big fair and festival is going to take place. So that made sense then. Now, I come home the other night, and I could hear clearly what was a small, small engined 2-seater plane maybe 4-seater, I don't know. I wasn't in it, I couldn't count. And going overhead again and again. And I said to Mrs. Kilt-Man, I said, what the hell is that? She went, oh, it's been doing it for hours. I went, for hours? No, this isn't the same thing. It's not the same area as where I'd seen, last year, the one that was going to be doing the thing for the next day's festival. So I went, oh, I'm not having that. And my son goes, yeah, it does seem odd. And he doesn't normally get flapped by anything. And I went, you think that's suspicious? He went, yeah, it's definitely odd. To Mrs. Kilt-Man, do you think it's suspicious? He said, well, yeah, you don't get this, do you? And it's flying around and it's low. So I went at the back and I had a look at it. And it was dark, but its lights were on. It was clearly a plane. It wasn't a UFO, it was a plane. And it was very low over all the rest of the street, all the houses down there, all the tenants on my land. It was very low over there, rickety old chimneys, and it threatened to maybe knock some of them at the highest battlements off the Kilt Mansion. So I thought, fucking not having that. I said, what's the police number? And she went 99. I said, no, not that one. No, not the one where not the emergency number, because I don't want to get done for clogging that up. So we got the number for the local police station. So I phoned them and they put me through. I said, there's something odd in the sky. I want to know if it's you guys, and if not, what is it and why is it there? And I got put through to some other departments, and it was a girl, and I explained what was happening. And she went, oh yeah, we've had a couple of calls about this. I said, well, what is it then? She went, oh, I'll just go and check. I thought, if you've had a couple of calls on this, then you must already know what it is, because haven't you already checked? So straight away, my hackles have risen. I'm like, what? You should have an answer for me. You've already checked this. And I waited for not that long. And then she got back. She was like, oh yes, it is one of ours. I said, okay, what's it doing? She said, well, I don't know what it's doing. I said, hang on, you've got a plane flying around above all our houses, very, very low, distressingly low, and it has been for hours. What's it doing? You must know what it's doing. This is not exactly a police car going up and down the street looking for a gang. This is a plane. What's it doing? Couldn't answer me. Couldn't tell me. I think you'll be all right within the next 20 minutes. Oh, so its flight pattern and its duration of its mission. No, I think it'll be gone within 20 minutes. It was gone within 20 minutes. Now, more fool me for not chasing this up, but I didn't chase it up. But I should have done. The fuck was that doing? What was that doing? Flying over. Yeah, you get the helicopter. Maybe the helicopter couldn't get out there, so they're using the plane to spot. But the plane, because it's moving so much more slowly than a helicopter, and its turning circle is nowhere near as good as a helicopter. Which can like blue thunder can fucking thunder bluely down streets, like over rooftops and stuff, and turn on a dime. So what was that pursuing? We would have missed anyone who's been pursued by that would have fucked off a long time before. So I don't know what that was. Just oddity in the air. So, right, that was UFOs. Enid Blyton, right? They had a go. The woke brigade has had a go at Roald Dahl and Ian Fleming for old style language and offensive material in their classic novels and continued bestsellers. And they want to change them. I mentioned this previously, and I'm not sure how it's going to happen with Ian Fleming. I've not heard any more about that. But with Roald Dahl, what they're going to do, they're going to, after the big backlash against them, they're going to, with their sensitivity readers, who the censors, they were going to just, make sure, oh, well, we've read it, but we don't think you should be able to read this because it's inflammatory and it's offensive to today's modern audiences. So, modern readership. No, so we're going to change those words. In some cases, removing words, changing words for really inappropriate words. Far worse, I thought. And adding paragraphs to describe certain things. Oh, it's okay for women to wear wigs. Women wear wigs for a lot of different reasons. Because the witches in Roald Dahl's The Witches wear wigs because they're bald underneath and they're ugly as fuck. But you can't even say that now, They're beautifully challenged, But it's bullshit. But because of the huge backlash, they went, is it Penguin or Puffin Books? Can't remember who it is now. And even the Roald Dahl Association went, Okay, well, what we're going to do, we're going to still publish the original text, the way they used to be, but with the disclaimer on it saying some of the language or material might be considered offensive. Okay, well, okay, yeah, you've got to accept people have changed, times have changed, but these books are snapshots of what things used to be like. Rightly or wrongly, that's actually irrelevant. They are a time capsule. Time, again, you see what I mean? Playing a time machine. And so they should be kept. Well, we're going to republish the new versions, but we're going to keep publishing the old ones as well, with a little disclaimer on it. Now, with Enid Blyton, apparently, this came to light, that they're rewriting Enid Blyton as well. Enid Blyton, Famous Five, and the Sexy Six. I don't know. The Stupid Six. I don't know. I was never massively a big fan of Enid Blyton, I'll be honest. But Enid Blyton is huge, huge. And you can't knock it. It's a part of the fabric of many, many generations of children's imagination. Great, fabulous story. A Faraway Tree, that's one, isn't it? That was a great one. And you shouldn't change these things. They are snapshots of what an outlook and a culture and a mindset was. So you're learning about the history in literature twofold: the stories themselves and the characters themselves, and also the language used to depict those characters and those stories. It's a massive, massive education, all wrapped up in entertainment. But no, they're going to rewrite Enid Blyton, but also the original copies, they're hiding them in libraries. They've been hidden away so that no one can, by mistake, pick up an original Enid Blyton book. That's cursed. That's like looking at The Last House on the Left, the original uncut version. What? What gives librarians the right to do that? To arbitrarily, no, we don't think you should be able to read these. No, we're going to hide these away so you can't find. Put them on the top shelf, please. Let's all stand each other's shoulders, because we're all little old biddies, us librarians. See, there's me massively stereotyping there, because they aren't. In our library, some of them are really fucking sexy. They are little old ladies, but they're still fucking sexy though. And they're putting them on the top shelf and all that, or putting them in like a foot locker and putting it, in the basement so no one can accidentally pick up one of those. Fuck off. If Enid Blyton was here now, she'd be going, fuck off, leave my books alone, you twat. Or I'll send the fucking Famous fucking Five after you and they'll fucking kick your fucking ass, you fucking librarian little shitbag. Let's see how they change the wording on that, So you've got that going on. You've got Putin met ZZ Top or something. President Z of China. Have you seen this thing about Putin? Apparently he's got a limp. You watch that footage, he's not fucking limping. He's been sitting down in the back of that fucking car he was driving through the parts of Ukraine which the Russians have held since the beginning and now have apparently built up. And with all those staged people there, they're like, oh, this is a little slice of heaven, they said. These gorgeous apartment blocks that apparently they built. If they bombed the place to fucking back and then built them in a year, we need some Russian workers over here because they're fucking quick at doing it. God almighty, they're proficient. And under fire as well. But they had all these staged people there who've been moved into these apartments. They're probably like that fucking shitting themselves because they could get blown up in a counter-attack at any moment. And Putin's there like, oh yeah, and he's that big testosterone fucking little baldy-headed grin on his face and all that. He's a little shitbag as well. Isn't he? I'm a short ass. Even Mr. Kentucky Fudge towers above Putin. But he'd been driving his own multi-bulletproof fucking vehicle through the streets. So no wonder his leg was dead. He's not fucking limping. I think it was the Daily Mail or something, or the Daily Mirror said like, oh, look for his limp, and like he looks at death's door. No, he fucking doesn't. No, he doesn't. Anyway, ZZ Top, president of China, arrived there, and if you notice this as well, China's not they're in the fucking hell, it's clever, but it's so fucking obvious. They want to be the peace brokers. don't want to be peace brokers. They're loving the fact that Russia has nudged NATO, and NATO is fucking champing at the bit to get in there, but can't. Ridiculous. And they're seeing the West in disarray. They're solid. Russia, China, fucking solid. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're having fun doing it, and they will not deviate from the path. So, my great friend and all that, like they call each other, via interpreters, obviously. But, right, all over shite. And equally shite, Donald Trump, who right now, as I'm doing this, might have been arrested. They've got police all over the States, riot police, waiting for civil unrest. There was a call out to go and form like a huge barricade around his house. I forgot the name of his house. The one down in Florida. I forgot what it's called. And to stop him from being arrested. Now, his arrest is for... let's get this right. Didn't he pay off Stormy Daniels? So it sounds like a fucking DJ, doesn't it? Stormy Daniels. And for alleged, sexual activity. And he paid it off. A lot of money. And to keep quiet. And its arrest is due to that. Now, I'm no fan of Trump. I'm not. But I hate Biden even more. I've said this so many times now. Now, they are really, really out to get Trump in any way they can. They've done worse. They've done far worse. Because they're the ones who are in league with fucking China. The one thing Trump never did was fucking China. Yes, you had that little, perhaps sort of weirdness with Putin with the election, not the erection. And like the Russians wanted him in there. But you've got to ask yourself a question. If Trump was still in charge, still president, do you think that Putin would have invaded the Ukraine or delayed it? He may have wanted to. I don't think he would have done it. I don't think he'd have gone in. Now, it's all hypothetical, of course. I don't think he'd have gone in because Trump is very, very proactive and he would have gone for it. So, we would have been on the brink of the Armageddon had Trump been in charge. So, in a way, maybe Putin was playing the long game. Let's get Trump in there because I know he'll be a renegade and they'll get him out. And then we'll have a soft-ass fucking president in there who'll do fuck all. And then I can just storm in there and nothing will happen. So, Stormy Daniels and Putin storming in. Operation Desert Storm, my arse. So, yeah, lots to think about there. Lots to think about. Wow, we've covered some ground here, haven't we? The Metropolitan Police have been absolutely damned by a new deep dive report onto their institutionalised, they are sexist, they are racist, they are misogynist. They put the lives of women and children in jeopardy. I've said a lot about this in the past. I almost certainly will say a lot more because I do know a lot more. But for the time being, I'm going to hold my ground. But yeah, twats. So there's outcries to have the Met either splintered and factionalised into covering like East London, West London, North London, South London, and other areas of London, and the greater London environment. But then you've got too many different fucking cooks in the kitchen, and the police does not have a good track record, even beyond all the rapists and murderers and paedophiles that are amongst them. The police don't have a good track record of communicating with one another, so you might find that crooks would abuse that by just, we'll commit a crime in that borough, then we'll just skip over the county borough into the next part of London, and you know what I mean? And the police don't get in touch and help each other out. Little spotter planes, that's what they'd have, little spotter planes buzzing around the sky. Oh, we're too busy wearing our voice alarm system, for all the mobile phones. Yeah, oh, fuck off. So yeah, that's in the news as well. Donald Trump to be arrested. God, I've done a lot, haven't I? Covered a fair bit there, including John Wick. Okay, let's go for the peeve of the week. The peeve of the week. Fucking take your pick. I have missed something else. I have missed another item in news out. Sorry about this. I'm just going to, because I did write this down, but I wrote it somewhere else. The headmaster or headmistress, what do you call them now? Oh God, they're just the head. Can you even call them a head? They're a body. What kind of body are they? Are they male or female body? Oh, it's just a completely gender neutral body. The person, the human, the entity, he, she, him, it, whatever, in charge of a school has refused admission to an OFSTED inspection today because OFSTED are the investigative inquiry board that go into schools to make sure that rules and regulations and standards and principles are being adhered to. But they've gained so much power in the last few years, as so many individual little branches of agencies and departments have. Too many cooks in the kitchen, too many Indian chiefs in the teepee, you know, that they are causing, they've blown their own trumpets and they stride in arrogant and twats. You do need a regulatory board in schools to make sure that general principles are being adhered to. You know, what's your policy on bullying? What you do here? Let's sit in for a bit. I do agree with that, but they've really bigged themselves up and given them so much power that in January this year, after an Ofsted report or an Ofsted visit in November last year in another school, the poor headmistress, I'm going to call her a mistress, Ruth Perry, I think her name was awaiting the results of that report, committed suicide. And the actual report did state that everything was going great with that school, but leadership was slightly not up to standards. Now, I've heard this a lot, Ofsted reports, people Ofsted going into schools, and the absolute chaos and worry it causes teachers and especially principals and head mistresses, head masters, head teachers, the stress it causes them. When most of those people, you know, I can't do blanket on this, but most of them have gone into it as a vocation. They want to educate. They've got a love of educating people, and they want to bring the next generation up. They do. It's one of those jobs where you've got to love it to do it. I couldn't fucking do it. I couldn't be a teacher. I fucking hate kids. I do. Fucking hate them. No, I do hate them. Pain in the ass. But so anyone that can teach kids, I absolutely doff my cap. I salute you. I applaud you. I take a bow, because you're doing a fabulous job by and large. But the power that Ofsted seems to wield is way too much. If you're going to put someone in absolute fear and worry over their career, their livelihood, and their life, that's too much. So fuck off. So this headmistress said, no, I'm going to refuse the Ofsted coming into our school today, because you shouldn't be coming out this week because of the news that this is the Ofsted week of coming out. You should not do it this week in honour and sympathy with what's happened, with what you caused. And all the other schools and all the other unions, and there's various unions again. See, this is the thing, there's just too many people involved. Every agency has multiple different divisions. Every department has multiple agencies with different divisions. Every ministry has multiple departments with multiple agencies and divisions. It's fucking ridiculous. Too many people have too much power, and they swap and change. You should have just someone in charge of transport. Right, you're in charge of transport, head of transport. You just do trains, fucking roads, buses, planes. That's it. Narrowboats, maybe. You're in charge of police. You just do police. I saw this morning a transport minister was being asked about the police. It's not his fucking thing to talk about. What does he fucking know? Nothing. So all he can say is the party line and his own opinions. But we now know you can't come out with your opinions at all. So why ask the transport minister about fucking policing? He doesn't fucking do the job. But this is the whole cross-breeding of everything. We expect them all to know something. So they go in there these different jobs, and they think I've got to be able to go on the normal media, the mass media, and answer these questions on fucking immigrants, on pollution. And I just do transport. I just look after the trains. Not very well either. But if you had one person in charge of one thing, and their department works on that one thing, that'll work. Stop bringing everything in together. You're making too much. I always bang on about how tiny the British Isles are. Tiny. They're fucking tiny. We fit into the fucking nostril of Texas about 15 times. Why have we got so many people in so many departments and so many fucking ministers all like that all the time and doing nothing? One person for one thing. You govern that. You have a lot of these people, but they're in charge and their team is in charge of that thing. Stop intermingling. So, all the unions, as I was saying, all the school unions, not uniforms, have all come out in agreement and said, like, yeah, it's horrible. You're going to try to come out now this week, so don't do it. We're still travelling through time, aren't we? Yeah, it just sickens me, that someone should take their own life because of a report that's going to come out about something that she's committed herself to and done everything she possibly can. They're always going to find fault. Of course they are. Unless, of course, they're getting backhanders from, like, Tory schools, And they exist. We know that, don't we? What else is there? Oh, the Peeve of the week. Of course. And I've just been through loads of them. UFOs that don't register on your fucking photographs. Where did that go? But I've discussed that, so it's gone. It's gone now. Peeve of the week. The pub loudmouth. Don't all point at me. Stop it now, I tell you. You've all encountered this guy. He knows everything about everything. He's louder than everybody else. And the worst part of it is, he normally has a bunch of mates around him who don't say a fucking word, but they laugh on cue. They don't have any other friends. They just meet up and then, in comes Big Doug. Big Doug with a voice like a foghorn. A voice like a government alarm system. A voice that can be heard on Mars. A voice that commands everybody else to stop what they're doing, put their drink down and listen, and then go, he's a fucking idiot, I fucking hate him. We'll go over and tell him, I'll just sit here. Because the pub loudmouth tends to be a bigger bloke as well. He knows it. He knows he might be physically intimidating, and he's got a voice like the bellows, so people have to listen. And he loves what he says, and he says what he loves. But I encountered one the other day, and I was in the Royal Oak, and I was sitting there, and sport was on the big screen, and but it was just Sky Sports News and all that, like, and oh god, he was going through all the teams in the Premiership and all that, all the wheeling and dealing. He knew everything, and his cronies were like, they were all much older. They were going, yeah. And I thought, oh fucking hell, here we go. And the worst thing was, he actually knew me as well, because they were already there, and I got me a couple of whiskies, and I went up the steps and I sat down, and he went, Kilt-Man, and I went like that, sat down, had my earphones in as well, like, and but he managed to no matter what volume I put my music on, he took over. Knew everything. He's telepathic. He knows what all the managers are thinking and all the players are thinking. Well, he wants to be doing this. Well, he's been saying for ages, and they're going, I've never heard any of these fucking rumours at all. He's just made all this up because he knows. He knows, He knows. And I think there was a break, and actual news headlines came on for all of a brief second or two. And so he went on to politics. Oh, God. I'll let him have his... Don't argue with that at all, with politics. Not in the pub. It's just not worth it. That's how world wars begin, And he was... I thought, Christ, you're an expert on this. And he got all the names. And he was quoting people and speeches and things that they said. And I was like, oh, fucking hell. Maybe you do know your stuff. Anyway, this went on for ages. Drinkety drink. Oh, shit. And I managed to pour the last drop into the other glass like that. And then I drank that and I was like swilling it round and put my hand over the top and let it drip down. And got it again. Oh, the last drop. Better go and get 2 more. Off I shuffle. And I was at the bar and I was thinking, 2 more grouse, please. Out they came. And I thought, you fucking start talking movies. And as I walked back, I thought, you start talking John Carpenter, oh, I'm going to go fucking ballistic. And I sits down. He's talking movies, isn't he? There's a reason. There's 2 reasons why I've got all this Snake Plissken stuff out. He was talking Escape from New York. How the fuck did you get onto that? How did you go from politics? And I thought, oh, politics, well, Escape from New York is political in some ways. Well, in many ways, actually. It's about the president being kidnapped. And an anti-authoritarian, badass anti-hero having to rescue him and then consign the world to nuclear oblivion. Yeah, you can say there's politics in there. And he was talking through all the characters and all that. And these guys, I don't know who got him on that. I don't know how he seeded from politics to Escape from New York, but he fucking did. And I just thought, oh, I can't sit through this. I can't. Because I'm one of those that, if you say something wrong about a movie, I'm the annoying bastard then. I just, oh, can I just correct you there? Because it's my favourite film of all time. And then I've been in pubs sitting there dressed as Snake Plissken with the eye patch on. He's got it today. It's my turn tomorrow. And with the cacks on and the boots and the jacket, the life clock and everything, the tracer, everything sitting there. And people have obviously seen you come in and you get your drinks. And I've sat somewhere else and met someone else and been over there. And it's, oh, Snake Plissken, yeah. And it's not talking about it. And then I come to the bar and they're talking about the movie. And I hear them and they're going, oh, no, I'm trying to think of something that they said wrong. Can't remember anything like, but I've turned around to correct them. And like, it must look ridiculous. Like, well, don't argue with him because he was there. It's him. Fucking hell. I heard you were dead. You know? I heard you drank in a different pub. Anyway, but so he's on about this, and I thought, you fuck up here, mate. I'm gonna have to say something. But the more he was going on and the louder he was getting, and the less flack he was getting from anybody else, I thought, oh, I'm not being the one to leap in here. I'll just let him go on with it. Be the bigger man. Just keep stum. And he got onto the thing, didn't he? God. And you know when you know where things are going to go. Yeah, they all die at the end. They're all dead. Everyone dies. The thing gets everybody. And a classic film, though. Love it. Love it. Watch it every time. But the thing gets them all at the end. And it's just, it's so sad. But the thing wins. And I thought, the thing does win in a way. But in a way, I've said so many times on this, and so many times in debates and discussions and writing about the movie, that, yeah, I think they're both human at the end. McCready's a human, Childs is a human. And I thought, I won't be able to convince the pub loudmouth. Because you can't help but endorse yourself. I write about this all the time. I'm on YouTube. I'm the biggest fan. I've got a vast collection of memorabilia. I saw it when it first came out, blah, 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 blah. And you come out with all that, you're just like, nope. That's the kind of person he is. Nope. They both get killed by the thing at the end. And he was saying this. This was a guy that was pretty much correct in a lot of things that he'd been saying, politics-wise, and, the sports stuff, I don't know. I don't read people's minds. But he may have been correct in some of his assumptions. He was certainly very detailed. And he was dead detailed up until he gets to the thing, And I was like, what the hell is this? The thing doesn't get them at the end. They are both human at the end. I know it's all subject to your own opinions and how you view it, but I think the general consensus is along the lines of what I've always said, that they're both human. And that's the tragedy. They're both human. They've survived. They've won, but they won't live. So, in the end, whatever remnant of the thing is still out there, frozen. But let's face it, if every piece of the thing is its own living organism, what chance have you got destroying it? It's all well and good with Palmer blast through the air after chewing Windows' head to bits and then throwing his dummy's body across the rec room, shattering the lights above the pool table. The Palmer thing legs it out, and McCready stick of dynamite blows it up. Well, there's little chunks of thing everywhere, aren't they? As Fuchs says, when he's reading Blair's notes. funny I've gone into this now. He's reading. I could have told this guy all this, like as McFuke says when he's reading Blair's notes out to McCready. You know, there's still your life in these burnt remains. They're not dead yet. So just burning them doesn't actually really kill them. You've really got to fry the fuckers up completely. So the thing, in a way, has won. There's still be remnants of it all around, frozen in the ice. But yeah, this guy, they're so annoying. But they are big fellas. They're big guys with big mouths and big fucking voices and big opinions. Oh, God. And, you know, for the sake of, you know, being not exactly gender stereotyping, more inclusive, women can be like that as well. There you go. In fact, they're even fucking worse. Right, earworm of the week. What have we got here? Well, I think we did it before, didn't we? Let's just have a little look again. Earworm of the week. Been on for fucking hours on this, so I'm gonna have to wind this up now. Where is it now? Jesus. Earworm of the week. Run away! Oh, it's telling me that my house is on fire. I'm in my house right now. Whoa! A lot of disasters and stuff that might be in your vicinity, you might be aware of before they're aware of it. Got that as well. Oh, I'm standing by this flooding river right now. I can see it's flooding. I don't need to be told. But being told where to go and what to do when you get there, given instructions. Oh, folks, I don't know about that. Shut up. There's your earworm. And cheers, y'all. Your good health. And to the continued destruction of my liver. Folks, I have been on with Shelby Kilt-Man. I have reviews on the way. Don't forget, you're going to get John Wick Chapter 4. Woohoo! 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 The owl alarm, you know. So, lots of stuff coming. In the meantime, in this ever alarming in-between time, please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic, and I am going to see you all. So, have they arrested Trump or not? Well, I've been going on about all this. Did they arrest him or not? Did they? I don't know. They're definitely afraid of Trump. What does Trump know? What could Trump do that they are so afraid of when they're just as bad, if not considerably worse, than he ever was? Just saying.